What's up, guys? Welcome back. Sorry for not posting for a while. Yeah. I know that I did post this Sunday on Easter Sunday. Hope you guys had a good Easter. Um, let's get back into this. I'm gonna see if I can get back onto a normal posting schedule. So I am sorry for not doing that. And also, don't forget to put some suggestions for the next what if in the comments. I will pick one if some do get put down there. If not, I'll just pick another one of mine. And, yeah. Okay, so if you guys remember last time, Vegeta blew himself up to stop the destruction that Boo would cause, but ended up killing himself in the process. Of course, Boo is still alive, but also, if you're, the Kais brought Gohan and Raditz onto the world of the Kais. And of course, Gohan pulls out the Z Sword after they tell him about the legend. So he pulls it out to see if the sword can maybe stop Boo, but then, he's got the sword now. Of course, Goku goes to the lookout to see if he can teach the kids the Potara fusion, or not Potara, Metamoran fusion. So he picks the two oldest, which are Ranch and Trunks, and tells Goten that he's sorry, but they need the strongest that they can get. So Ranch and Trunks are the oldest, therefore they are the strongest. Pretty equal in power too, which will make this a whole lot easier, making the fusion a whole lot stronger than Gotenks was. Of course, they do at some point master it, and they get Bronx. So this is Bronx. Sorry, the image is so bad, I couldn't find many pictures of her. Well, then after Goku goes back to other worlds, he senses Gohan's energy and comes and gets hit in the head like before. After testing the sword a little bit, they throw the Kadenites and it breaks the sword, which of course releases the Elder Kai, who explains his backstory, and then does the ritual on Raditz and Gohan, saying that they are really strong. Gohan, of course, having the most potential, but he decides to do the ritual on both of them, seeing as they are the only two alive, and, well, the strongest there. Of course, Boo becomes Super Boo and is destroying the city, as you can see in the background. And, of course, once he gets to the lookout, he does his Earthender attack and kills all of humanity. Or, some of it. Of course, Ranch and Trunks are in the time chamber, training, so that they can fuse and fight Super Boo in the time chamber, which they do end up doing. And, with Ranch in this fusion, the fusion's a little bit more lightheaded. So Super Saiyan 3 Ranks fights Super Boo, and in the end, they do end up losing and getting absorbed by Super Boo. So Super Boo becomes Booonks, whatever you would want to call it. So then Piccolo destroys the time room and tries to fight Boo himself, saying that they will be stuck in here forever. And then he absorbs Piccolo, creates the portal, and leaves. Now, by this time, the ritual is finished. So, Gohan has now obtained Mystic, and Raditz figured out that Ikari can be mixed with Mystic to create a pretty powerful form. Then the Elder Kai gives up his life for Goku to be able to be brought back and to fight. So, once they get there, Gohan, of course, fights Booonks, and it's not doing so well, and he's the strongest of the three of them, so they know that they don't really stand a chance against Booonks. Now, of course, Boo then eventually absorbs Gohan and becomes Boohan. Then Goku has the Potara, so then he Potara fuses with Raditz, and then they become what's his name? Radku. Yeah, they become Radku. It's ready to fight Gohan. And they of course go straight into the Mystic Ikari form. And of course they do eventually turn into Super Saiyan, still of course with the Ikari thing going on. And then Boo prepares a very powerful blast, thinking that it will stop them. But of course, in the end, well, you know, they clash back. They're not just gonna sit there and let Boo destroy the Earth or whatever. So then, after this powerful clash, Boo is then destroyed completely. Boo is now dead, and we can move on over to Battle of Gods. So, you know, a few years have passed, time of peace. Vegeta is permanently dead now because, you know, King Yama never gave him his body back, so he has already been reincarnated. So maybe the Super Dragon Balls can bring him back, but for now he is dead. And Beerus finally wakes up from his hundreds of years nap and has these dreams and visions of the Super Saiyan God. And in his dream, of course, he has a vision of two rivals. So he's wondering who these two rivals are. In his dream, one of them has long hair, the other one, the shorter one, and he of course has a little mirage or hallucination of the short-haired one. So he doesn't know where these two Super Saiyan gods are, but he's trying to find them. Of course, Goku and Raditz at this time are training on King Kai's planet. So Beerus shows up and Raditz offers to go first, hopping straight into Mystic. And of course, Beerus makes quick work of Raditz. So he backs down, and Goku shows up. Goku steps up to fight. Of course, he hops straight into Super Saiyan 3, seeing how Mystic wasn't even enough to stop Beerus. Because Mystic is kind of like accumulation of all their forms. But, so he goes into Super Saiyan 3, and it's not enough, so he goes into Super Kaioken 3. Because again, seeing as Kaioken was something he had recently gotten in the Buu Saga, he wanted to use it more since it was like more of a multiplier. So he, of course, has been training it, and he is currently in Kaioken times 10 here, on top of Super Saiyan 3, but he still gets defeated by Beerus. So, of course, Beerus then heads to Earth to try and find the Super Saiyan God, which he really thought that either of them was the long-haired Super Saiyan God that he had saw, because, you know, they both had long hair at some point, so. But Whis takes them to Earth, where he enjoys Bulma's party. He has fun with the food and everything. And then after the party, he challenges Gohan, wondering if he's the Super Saiyan God. Well, he powers up into, well, of course, he's been keeping up with his training a little bit, because, you know, he hasn't had much to study, you know, he got out of school and everything, so Raditz has really been pushing him to train, so, you know, that helps Goku also push him to train a little bit more, but he's been to King Kai's planet a few times, but not much, because Goku's always there, and he never really has time to catch him when he heads there. He doesn't really care about training that much. But Beerus says that the long-haired Saiyan already tried this on him, so Gohan knows that he's fought Raditz. Well, he still tries it out, and he still loses, and then, out of nowhere, Goku shows up. Of course, Raditz is also there. He's just down there with them, but, you know, Goku goes up on the little thing like before. And has the idea to summon Shenron and ask him. Well, he tells them about the ritual. So Goku is the candidate. Of course, Raditz is the strongest of the two, but Raditz wants Goku to do it, you know. He wants Goku to fight Beerus. Also Goku wants to get back at Beerus for that little flick that he did on him. So Goku says that he'll do it, and Raditz is of course okay with this, but says that next time he will do it. It's kind of like how Vegeta said it in the original. He said next time he will be the one in the ritual or to get the next form. So of course to help him with the ritual is Raditz, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and Ranch. So of course they don't have the issue of running out of Saiyans here because, you know, Raditz would replace Vegeta, and then of course, you know, Ranch is there. So they don't. So Videl does not really reveal that she is pregnant here, so Gohan is still unaware. Well, Goku then ascends into the Super Saiyan God, and him and Beerus, of course, do fight pretty much like as normal in the series. He would try to mix Kaioken, but he doesn't know how that would work with the God Ki. After learning what that is, he kind of rules out Kaioken because of the toll it already has on Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan God doesn't have as much of a energy toll, but he doesn't know how Kaioken would affect that. Of course, if he did something similar to the original series, how his powers were disrupted when he used it with Super Saiyan Blue, but he just decides to fight Beerus, especially with the Earth on the line. He does not want to start testing anything yet and experimenting and then end up losing in the end. Of course, they do fight, and their fight ruptures the universe a bit. But, you know, Goku pulls back like in the original, stopping the universe from being destroyed like it was before. But, you know, everyone on Earth started feeling like the rupturing, even the Kais did. But then, of course, at some point, Goku's God Ki, or godly power, runs out, reverting him back into a Super Saiyan. And Beerus does mention this, and Goku realizes, but he still fights on. And then, of course, at some point, Beerus falls asleep, and that is the end of the Battle of Gods. Then, you know, Goku and Raditz start going to Beerus' planet to train and everything. And then Gohan starts slacking off on his studying, or starts slacking off on his training, and starts working a little bit more on his studying. Starts slacking off a little bit. So Battle of Gods was a little short here. But yeah, you know, that's what that is. So next, I will be going over Resurrection F. I will be going over that next week. Sneak peeks on Tuesday. I'm going to start doing a little bit of a sneak peek on Tuesday. So next is going to be Resurrection F. So that is where I'm going to end this video off, guys. I hope you did enjoy. But let you guys know in the comments what you guys think of my what ifs and stuff, and of course suggestions for the next one. Yeah, I hope you guys have been having a good week and stuff. I hope you guys have a good weekend. See you guys on Sunday for my next video. Peace.